guys, welcome back. What do you think of my new theme? I'm pretty excited about it myself. And look at these mugs. Well, they're not mugs yet, they're still cups. I like this part of the video. When I was making it, I wanted it to feel like I was opening presents, and it kind of does, so I'm happy with it. And now, as the title suggests, I'm going to put handles on them. I started out by trying to pull a handle, but I got impatient. I've pulled handles before, just wasn't feeling it this day. So I was rolling it out. I wanted a really delicate handle, and those are much harder to pull as well. I end up pulling this handle a little bit, just enough to smooth out the texture from rolling it on the canvas board. This first cup has a really delicate feeling, so I wanted a delicate handle on it. The cup reminds me of Chip from Beauty and the Beast. He has a nice little dainty shape, so I wanted to make a dainty handle. As I was looking at the cup, I realized that the texture of it was really rough from when I trimmed the foot, and it didn't go with the dainty feeling of the shape and the handle that I was creating. So at first I tried to smooth it out with water, but I should have known that wouldn't work because the cup was already leather hard. So I went and got my little bucket of slip and just smoothed it over the surface. Just enough to fill in that texture and make the cup feel more dainty. But now I had a new problem. Since the cup was wet, I wouldn't be able to attach the handle. When I tried to touch the cup or handle it, it left fingerprints. So I had to set it in the handle aside and come back to them later. Now, this cup gave me a little more trouble. I didn't like the rough texture on the bottom of it either, and that was also from trimming the foot. So I thought, let me take this slip and create an interesting texture, like poured slip on it. I really like this texture. I've done it once before on my Komodo dragon pot, and I really liked it, so I thought I would try it again. It reminds me of like the waves of the ocean lapping up on the beach. And then I just used a little bit of slip to smooth out the foot of the cup as well. Now, this cup is a lot bigger and heftier. So at first I thought it would have a bigger handle, something more like your standard coffee cup. I started by trying to pull the handle again, but I got impatient and just rolled it out. Whenever I'm making a handle, I always make way too long of a coil. Not really on purpose, but I think it's a good thing. Because then I have this long coil that I can play around with and see what shape really fits the shape of the mug. But with this cup, I decided that I didn't like the handle, like at all. I don't know, when I'm making a mug, handles are tough to me because I really don't like handles, but mugs need handles, or people expect them to have handles, and so I expect them to have handles. But I hate making them because I just, the shape, the thickness, like it all has to match the cup, and if it doesn't, it feels so wrong. Maybe I overthink it. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think I overthink it? Well, anyway, so I decided to experiment with this mug and make sort of a ring catch or a finger catch rather than a handle. So it's just got a little hook that comes up on the side, and then I wanted it to feel ergonomic, like really comfortable, like you had a good hold on it when you picked it up. So I made the hook on top curl down just a little bit on the outside so that it kind of hugs your first finger. And then I also made a bump that would go in between your first and second finger. So I think it'll be good. It's not fired yet, but I think it'll be really nice. I'll probably glaze this mug in a matte finish because I think that'll be more comfortable than a gloss finish. It's more comfortable to hold something that's like a satin or a matte finish. I'll probably leave the bottom half of this mug, because it's got that rough texture, I'll probably leave it the raw clay, depending on how rough it is after it's fired. So, we'll see what happens. Whatever it is, I hope that the handle comes out and feels nice. I hope it was a good idea. Okay, this is the last mug. This one is the biggest, and it definitely needed a whole handle. And it felt more like a standard coffee mug, so I felt like I could give it a standard handle. So here I'm starting a method for pulling a coil, making a carrot, but then I just keep going with it again because I don't really care about pulling handles. There's not any particular reason to pull a handle versus rolling it out like a coil. You just want to get the clay cells aligned in the same direction so that the handle is stronger. And yeah, I feel like rolling it out and then just kind of smoothing it over is enough. So here I'm shaping it more and making it more of a thin profile, and then I end up making it too thin and having to take it back. The idea was good, the actual follow through did not feel right. So I just kind of tapped the sides in, and then I was like, oh no, that won't work at all, let's start over. But that's how it works sometimes. You just gotta keep going. I still wanted a thin profile, sort of the illusion of the handle being thinner than it actually is. This mug, I left the bottom portion the raw texture after being trimmed as well. So I probably won't completely glaze over the bottom portion. I like that rough texture, the way that it looks after it's high fired. The clay that I get is reclaimed mixture of a red clay and white clay, so it's kind of a pink when it's bisqued, and then it comes out this beautiful earthy tone after it's high fired. It's very nice. When I was in college, my professor made a lot of mugs, and he talked about pressing the bottom of the handle on with your thumb, almost like giving it your signature. I like that idea. It's kind of romantic, This idea that people who buy your mugs will have evidence that you made it. It's like a piece of you is on the mug. But I don't actually like how it turns out when I try to do that. So I press the handle on with my thumb, but then I end up manipulating that tail piece a lot until it becomes a shape that I like. I'm about to be back to that first cup with its delicate handle. Everything had time to dry, so now I can attach the handle without marring the surface of the cup, and the handle is also easier to manipulate. I'm really happy with how this handle came out. It's the way that I wanted it to look, but I did have to use a tool to attach it instead of just using my fingers. When I'm working with clay, I really like to do as much of the work with my hands and fingers as I can. I don't like to use tools, but sometimes you get into tiny detailed areas and you just can't help it. It's funny because I was talking to somebody else and they were saying they needed to use tools more often. They need to stop trying to use their fingers for everything. And I think that that's funny because my thought process is almost the opposite. It's just interesting to hear people's goals, what they're trying to do with their work. Just an interesting thought. Well, that about wraps it up. This cup is super cute. I'm really happy with how all the mugs turned out. You may have noticed that I never went back to put a handle on the second mug. When the slip dried, it was way too cool to be a mug, so I'm going to add some sculptural elements to it instead. So maybe this video should be called I Can Mostly Handle This? Thanks for watching. I'm Hannah, the Arkansas Potter. Please let me know if you like this video by hitting that thumbs up button, and remember to subscribe. See you next time!